In this video, it's part 2 of my look at the Practical Classics Classic Car and Restoration Show. Day 2 here at the Practical Classics Classic Car and Restoration Show, and I thought we'd have a quick mooch around the auctions. This is CCA auctions, but yeah, look at that, headlamp brushes. Oh, very, very fancy. So I thought we'd see what we've got that takes our fancy. We'll have to go back and have a look at that. That's a Jensen truck. Very interesting. We've got lovely Merc 190 here for another headlamp wiper moment. Splendid. A Gilburn Invader Mark III. Absolutely joyous. And look, 4th gen Honda Prelude next to a BMW E30. So E21 Bauer, and oh hello, another Australian. It's is it a Vauxhall badged one? No, it is a Holden GTS built for the UK, one of 19. Wow. So the more you look around this show, the more Australian cars you find, not just on my stand. And we'll keep mooching around. Nice E-Type Series 1, as yet missing its headlamp glass. A fake plastic 2CV van next to a delicious Daimler V8 250. I know it's a V8 250 and not a 2.5 litre because it has the slimline bumpers, which I think look better than anything at all. And just going to see what else we can find. Lovely lineup of cars actually. We've got a right mixture going on. That is another Australian car, and it's bright pink. It's a Holden Tirana. So I could do a separate video just on the Australian cars here. It's got an old number plate on it from about 79. So that's been here a while, I would say. There we go, LJ Tirana with the 3.3 litre straight six. So it's a 1972. The plate dates from 78 to 79. At the time, that would represent when it was imported to the UK. A slightly crispy Lancia Fulvia here. That's also very lovely. Some very fine Mercedes. Is that Flavia? It is a Flavia Pininfarina Coupe, Daimler Coupe, lovely Mercedes-Benz R107, a very late bug. Look at that on an 03 plate. Obviously right towards the end of production. So yeah, this is Classic Car Auctions Everyman Classics. And I don't know what the results are yet. I don't know if they've sold any cars yet. But I'm only in here for one car. At least this is the one that caught my eye. I've now seen loads of Australian cars. Saab 96. Is it a 2-stroke? It is. It is a 2-stroke engine. It's got the 841 2-stroke 3-cylinder engine. Very inspired by DKW in Germany. And yeah, cracking little cars to drive. Beautiful column gear change. Paul Cowland off that there telly is quite a fan of a Saab 96. Got a Daimler Sports here. The SP250, unofficially a Daimler Dart, because Dodge already had the use of the Dart name. I've never driven one, but I would love to, because just like that Daimler V8 250 we saw, the same 2.5 litre V8 designed by Edward Turner, quite an incredible man. And an early De Tomaso Pantera there. That's quite delicious. And look at this R107. That's the SLC, the fixed roof version, and an absolutely stunning shade of yellow. So that's what's available here on the CCA stand. Let's go and see what other delights we can find in the main show. Oh, now here is an interesting car. The Daimler Conquest Century new drophead coupe. This was Daimler's attempt to rival the likes of MG and Austin Healey with a sports car based on their Daimler Conquest. But a very curious looking car and not a very successful one, which is why they then developed the SP250 Dart. Not that that was really any more successful. Oh look, we've got a huge lineup of enormous American stuff, of which I know very little. That one's a Mustang, I think, and that'll be a Trans Am Pontiac, I think, probably. Is that a Ford Falcon? It is. So this is the type of Falcon that they started making in Australia before deciding they would go their own way. Lovely, very pretty early Thunderbird. Anyone who says the Americans can't build pretty cars, oh, they can. And if we swing around here, we're into the world of roots. Look at this lovely Rapier. That's somewhat crusty. Hopefully we'll ride again. A couple of Huskies. So we saw one on the Carroll Nash barn find stand. These ones in happier condition. It is, pleased to say. Oh no, we see Mr. Furious. Good morning, sir. Go away, go away. This is mine, this is mine. Lovely BMC camper. Absolutely splendid. Oh, well, we're just filming each other now.
If you just do the talking, I don't have to bother.
Okay. This one is definitely a Ford Capri.
Nice Ford Capri.
Nice Ford Capri. I think that's an Austin Allegro.
Lovely
Yeah,
Allegro.
yeah. So there you go. Happy to help.
Thank you.
Imps over here, the Imp Club. Lovely display. This is a later Comma Cob, I think. Well, no, still sold as a Comma Imp van, but they sold these as a Husky as well, with rear windows and a rear seat. In fact, there's one that lives not a million miles away from me. I really must do a video on Imps. That has to happen. So we'll try and make that happen. But yeah, we've got Hillman Avengers here. Lovely Avenger estate. It's got the express steel panels. They make a lot of bodywork for these. Sunbeam Alpines, much like the one I drove. In fact, these have got the earlier fins. It's a good chance to compare the earlier fin type with the later, more squared off type. Very, very pretty cars. So behind me here I have Club Triumph, the young members group, which perhaps explains why this one's a bit low and a bit moody looking. Youngsters do like their slammage, but so good to get youngsters into older cars. If we don't, the scene will simply die. And I know the Triumph Sports 6 Club here also has a youth register within it. Look at this, a Vitesse Coupe. That's got to be pretty rare. Wonderful. So yeah, the club's fully acknowledged that if we don't get younger people into old cars, then yeah, what are we going to do? The scene isn't going to survive. We've got the Triumph Roadsters here, the old Bergerac spec. They must get so fed up of hearing that. TR7s down there as well. We did the Pride of Ownership yesterday. This is the problem. I'm having to remember what I actually recorded yesterday, but I don't think I got up to this part of the show. Because I can see a Austin or Morris J4 van over there I'd like to take a look at. This is the Morris register. It might well tell us what it is, but yeah, more wonderful cars, works in progress, little body tub there. It's just great to see. Oh, it is Austin badged. The minor LCV register, so the light commercial vehicles. But yeah, badge engineering meant Austins could be Morrises, and oh yeah, there's a good example of your old tin worm in action there. Volvos, we've got P1800s, good selection of there. I need to come back to Saabs. I raced around the Saabs a bit yesterday. I need to come back to this one, because this one did belong to my mate Nick. He's actually managed to sell it somehow. It came off the road after failing an MOT in 2002 and has since been stored up in Aberdeenshire until then. 2 weeks ago, my mate Nick got it running. Nick owned the Green Goddess, which is featured on the channel quite some years ago now. 2018 we went up there and tried to get it started, and we had a wonderful event up there as well. So yeah, this has sat for years, and he literally connected up a battery, chucked some fuel in it, and it ran. It's a last of the line Ruby edition, so it's got the 185 horsepower Carlson engine, so the turbo 16 engine, and this lovely metallic paint. But considering it's sat outside in Scotland for 15 odd years, or even longer, no, it was more like 18, isn't it? I don't think it's doing too badly, and he has managed to find it a new home, so that's good to see. Volvo Owners Club, look at that, it's definitely got to be a barn find. It's still got leaves on it. Volvo 340, it's odd to see one of those in such a perilous state, and a rare saloon version as well. But these have become hugely popular with the boy racer crowd, so it's always nice to see one that hasn't been slammed and turboed and whatever. It's good times. Fiat Coupes, look at this. This is what I love about this show. It isn't about the shiny. It's about things like this. So this is the 20 valve turbo 5-cylinder engine. It sounds magnificent, but as you can imagine, doing a timing belt on one is a little bit of a challenge. The recommendation is to take the engine out, but some people can now do it in situ. I can only assume they're employing children to help. But yeah, that looks absolutely wonderful. Over here on the Simca Club UK, look at this. Somewhat dishevelled little 1000, very Fiat inspired, because Simca had linked with Fiat early on. So we've got a rear engine here, and they did sporty versions, and then they did a very pretty, very rare coupe version. So look at that, 1200S, exceedingly rare, exceedingly pretty car. And we've got an Aronde. I was surprised in Australia, these Simca Arondes, despite only having a 1290cc engine, very popular in Australia. We've got a nice selection of Corrados over here. This is the Corrado Club of Great Britain. And then we've got the Scirocco Club as well. A nice early one there with a single wiper. And then they facelifted it, kept the single wiper, and later fitted 2 wipers. So nice selection of cars here as well. A nice couple of Beetles. This is a historic Volkswagens, and lovely to see you know, a shiny-ish example, fairly shiny, fairly tidy. And then this, the old patinated version. So yeah, splendid display. Good morning. Oh, look at that! Magic words. Thank you very much. I have tea to go to, so I should make my way back to Hall 4. We got the more Matras going on here. Matra Morena and the Bagheera. This Bagheera's oddly got a rear wiper. They didn't have that from the factory. So, oh, marvellous. And over here we've got the Fiat Motor Club, but this one isn't a Fiat, it's a Seat. So it is the Spanish version. So Seat, with the Pandas, started building them just like the Italian Pandas, but when Fiat facelifted the Panda and modified it, the Seats had a facelift but kept the same simple leaf-sprung rear axle right to the end of Marbella production. So that is not a Marbella, that is a Panda. And then they've got a Mark III Panda here, marking the fact that these are, you know, the best part of 18 years old now. Oh, obviously people of fine taste. And an Uno Turbo IE, very, very nice. Skoda's also hitting the modern side of things with this lovely Superb and a nice Rapid. And then we look at this, the Wartburg Trabant IFA, or Wartburg, sorry. This isn't any of those, that's actually a Zafrazet. It's got an air-cooled V4 engine at the back, beautifully oddball. Now, nice scruffy Trabant. This is the P60, it's the early version before they refined it into these. This is the last of the line with the 4-cylinder Polo engine in. So I imagine they're quite nippy. And this is a Velarex. I would love to have a go in one of these. It's like a very simple cycle car with a fabric body on it. Moving over here, West Midlands Classic Car Club, a lovely P4 and a Wolseley 680. More Volvo Enthusiast Club. We've got it all going on. Look, we've got a huge truck and then some lovely boxy Volvos. And PV, is that a 444? So that is quite an early Volvo. I don't think they sold those in the UK. I could be wrong. So I think this is the Volvo Enthusiast Club. It's a bit like the People's Front of Judea around here. But this one brings back some memories. So I had a model Volvo, and I think it was that colour, the 145. So the 5 represents it's got 5 doors because it's an estate, and 14 is the series. That's just lovely. Johnny Smith did a barn find one of these, or a garage find. So yeah, splendid to see. So Armstrong Siddeley was a manufacturer of very fine automobiles in Coventry. This is a Star Sapphire, the last of the line. You see it's got front hinge doors, whereas the preceding Sapphire had rear hinge doors for a bit of suicide door action. So called because the doors can fly open and you fall out and die. But lovely cars, lovely engineering, but sadly they just found it harder and harder to make a profit in the tough times of the late 1950s, early 1960s. So that was quite a dated design by then, trying to rival the Mark II Jaguar. Not really up to it, but yeah, wonderful cars, wonderful engineering. Over here we've got the I hinted at this in the first video. This is a race-prepared Javelin. I love Javelins. They're gorgeous cars to drive. And I'd be intrigued to know what this one's like. He has actually gone to a floor-mounted gear lever rather than the delicious little column gear change that would be standard in a Javelin. A little J40 pedal car, always nice. And here's a racy Jupiter. So similar mechanicals to the Javelin, but now in a sporty sports car body. But yeah, Jowett is a great company. We're based up in Bradford in Yorkshire. Oh yes, we got some wiper smearage even going on this one. Again, a smaller company, found it hard to survive. One of the issues was Ford bought up the company that was building the bodies for their cars, and they just couldn't sell them quick enough to compete. A nice selection of Wolseleys here, a Wolseley Hornet there, the original Hornet. And look at this beast. A reminder that Wolseley started off making very grand motor cars. Tying up loose ends here in the middle of Hall 5 is an MX-5 I remember well. I drove this one for a feature in Retro Japanese magazine, and it's running throttle bodies. And let me tell you, the difference that makes to the driving experience. So raw, so raughty. It sounds absolutely magnificent and goes very nicely too. Now, a lot of people might think the Ford Puma isn't quite classic car status yet. Those people are entirely wrong. Look at this lovely racing Puma undergoing restoration work. I understand they're a bit of a pig to do, and because they've got the big fat arches on them, and the body kit sort of goes over the top of the standard panels. So the standard panels rot out underneath the additional panels to turn them into a chunky arch racing Puma. So is my understanding. So yeah, great work to see. That's what I love. I love that this showcases work just like this. Oh, look at this Ford Escort Cabriolet. That is very of its time. That's proper old retro style. Yeah, when was this converted, I wonder? We haven't got the full details, unfortunately, but that's just extraordinary. Look at the ridiculous number of exhaust pipes. Brilliant. But one of my favourites at the show, Ford Sierra XR4i, the original bi-wing version from the early 1980s. I just adore these things. They had this special rear window treatment with the split on it to mirror the twin spoilers at the back. They're just a lovely looking car. So yeah, that is marvellous to see. As is the Mark IV convertible and this lovely Mark IV estate. Bigger wheels hint that might not be all it seems. Well, here we are. We came to the Fiat Motor Club stand the other day. We didn't get to see the Fiat 128 Coupe. It was still covered up, but yeah, what an absolute beauty. Such lovely styling, and quite unlike anything else, I think. That's a 128 Sport L. Absolutely delicious. Now, one of the more interesting cars here is this one. You might not recognise this because the last time we saw that car, Project Bramble, was here at this very show 3 years ago, when that was a very bare, very frilly body shell. So this is the work of Pt2. Do check out Cortina City, his channel. It's just extraordinary work. We went to visit him. We saw this body shell. He was just about to replace the roof, I think, because that rear corner was completely rotten. And the standard of work, yeah, just absolutely beyond compare. It's astonishing. He's had the interior, the wood effect, hydro dipping, but the quality, yeah, just amazing. In fact, I've managed to find the man himself. So Pt2, Cortina City, here you are.
Oh, Ian, you all right?
I'm very well.
Trying to find you all day. Ian very kindly gave me a lozenge.
Yeah.
We lose our voices at these
shows. The whole soothers are coming in very useful.
Thank you very much for the lozenge.
Yeah. So are you having a good time?
Yes.
I was just talking to Cameron, saying the difference in this car since you was last here.
The frilly patrol is over.
And when I came to see you, of course, and visit your workshop, I think you were just about to replace the roof.
Yeah, we were about to do the roof, and you was just down on the left-hand side rear quarter having a little look round. Yeah. We've got that quarter swapped. We've got it on, no problem. So
wow,
we've been busy, Ian.
Very
busy.
So what's the mechanical makeup of this one now?
This is so you got 2-litre Pinto with power steering. And an FR30 Kent cam. That's for a bit of low-end torque. It's got an auto box.
Oh,
Auto
well.
box is a Granada Scorpio 4-speed box.
Lovely.
And I've built a little box of tricks to put the lock up on after 60 mile an hour. So actually 45 mile an hour, we get the electronic lock up. And
Nice.
You get similar economy to a 5-speed box. Not quite the same, but it's forward.
It's just that more direct link.
Yeah. Virtually straight through the drivetrain.
Do I see power steering as well?
Yeah, power steering. Your Mark IV Cortina 2.3 power steering
Wow.
setup. Goes straight on.
Yeah, but the standard of work, it's just hard to believe this could possibly be
There was a lot
the car we see here. Look at that.
Well, that was a sieve, wasn't it?
Yeah, what a mess.
The dippers actually said, "Do you want the shell back?" They didn't. You know, a couple of carrier bags, and you've got your property back.
Yeah, wow.
But I like challenges.
Well, you certainly do.
I used to anyway. I used to anyway. I'm never doing it again.
No, I can see why you might think that. But then you're already on to the next project, aren't you?
That was donated to me. So there was a caveat, weren't there?
Yeah.
If someone gave me something, it's harder to say
So this is the
no.
British Guyana car?
That's the one up there. You'll have to go to the
Yeah, we'll go and have a look at that.
We'll have a look at that one.
And we'll go and have a look at that one as
Bench
well.
seat.
Ooh,
Very
bench
rare.
seat. Lovely.
Very rare.
Yeah, lovely. Well, thanks
So
for
that's
having a
good.
word. I know
Yeah.
you're very busy. You've been
That's
on the
okay, yeah.
live stage discussing your restoration.
Yes.
Has that been an interesting experience?
Yeah, you get a few each day. You do the same.
Yeah, the same pattern.
Similar,
Yeah,
but he's very good. The interview, you sort of mix it up a bit, but a little bit daunting at first, and then you get it. You get used to it. After 5 minutes, it's all right.
Super.
I'm used to doing my own camera on my YouTube.
Yeah.
And
Is
when
it weird
someone-
not holding the camera now?
It's very weird. I'd
Super.
like to see, maybe we should get you up there just for the experience.
Maybe. Yeah.
You should.
Super.
You should be up there.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much for
Okay.
speaking to us, and we'll go and have a look at that other very interesting Cortina.
Oh, Bill, thank you.
So we were just talking to Pt2, and he was talking about this car. This car, built in Dagenham in the 1970s. It then went to British Guyana. I can't even tell you where British Guyana is, but I can tell you it isn't very close to here. And the owner was moving to Canada, wasn't able to take this with him, so he shipped it to Pt2 of Cortina City. He thought there'd be no better home, and this is very likely to be his next restoration project. So it's a bit crusty in all the usual crusty places, but I look forward to seeing how he gets on. If we go inside though, look, it's actually got a bench front seat and a different handbrake arrangement, because obviously you can't have it down the middle. I think it must be a push-pull unit on the dashboard, probably over there. Is that it down there? I should think so. I can't actually see. You're in the car and I'm not. But yeah, Pete's going to have his work cut out again, but it does look better than Project Bramble did. So we'll see how he gets on with this one. Head to Cortina City to find out more. The Rolls-Royce Enthusiast Club have got this remarkable car, a 2025. It's kind of an attempt to have a more mass market appeal with these. A slightly smaller car, but the condition this one's in, just astonishing. Do not paint, but maybe gently clean. Look at the toolbox on the top. Absolutely gorgeous. So this is what this show is about, really. Cars not in amazing condition, but they can be. There's no hard rule against. Practical Classics and the Reliant Owners Club working together, all getting very frantic, trying to get the job finished. Yeah, it's looking absolutely splendid. They're going to see if they can actually run it. So still frantically tinkering away. I had a chat with Danny off camera this morning, the editor of Practical Classics, and yeah, he was telling me just how wonderful the Reliant guys are, and we're seeing it here. There's 3 of the Reliant guys gathered around the engine bay at the moment, but there's lots of other people also lending a hand, people who've helped with the bodywork. So it really is frantic, it really is real. They are trying to get this car to run. Adam jumping in, who did all the work on Foxan. Proper gentleman.
3, 2, 1.
Oh!
It wants to go.
Come on. Oh! Yay! Brilliant.
And it's as sweet as.
Brilliant. That's absolutely superb. So happy I got back for that moment. Well done, lads. We've just popped back to the Rover SD1 Club stand because I failed to notice, when I got so excited by the sight of headlamp wipers on the Rover SD1 yesterday, I failed to realise that this is Nitro Silvia's Rover SD1. I met Nitro Silvia at the last running of this event 3 years ago. He had an SD1 diesel that he's still restoring and I will drive one day. But he's been doing a gearbox change on this because it had a TR7 gearbox in it. So he's changed it for a Rover SD1 gearbox. TR7 gearbox fits because it's an LT77. It's the same transmission, but unfortunately it was pretty knackered. So we spent the weekend rebuilding this. He's just finished. I've just bumped into him, and yeah, he's done all the fine work. So the Rover V8, the Rover SD1 V8S, it has the headlamp wipers. It's a lots of luxury. It was kind of the predecessor of the Vanden Pla, and I'm saying Pla. I know that upsets people, but yeah, it was the luxury model, and they didn't make very many of them. So well done, Nitro Silvia. Do go and check out his channel, and you can find out all about his many SD1s and quite a lot of other Rovers too. By the way, if you're watching this and thinking, well, you didn't show my lovely Vauxhall Calibra or any other of the cars I've missed, it isn't deliberate. There's so many cars here, so many interesting custom Bedford CAs. It is so hard to try and capture everything. Really, I'm just trying to give you a flavour of the show. But there's one stand I haven't visited yet that I really need to show you, and that's a Toyota Enthusiast Club stand, because they've got a lovely selection of cars. This Hiace camper is just absolutely delightful. I think I had that on the stand at Retro Japanese one year. Nicola's lovely Toyota Celica. She told me she's off to France in that at some point. And then we've got this remarkable Sprinter Carib. Now, you won't recognise a Sprinter Carib from the front end because they weren't sold here. Sprinter Carib goes all the way back to the Tercel in some markets. But if we come around the back, you might recognise things a bit more readily, because really, it's a Corolla four-wheel drive estate. It's really funky styling. Yeah, it's lovely. You all well? Yeah, it's a lovely example. Yeah, I was chatting to the owner earlier, so my cup of tea. So yeah, there we go. Very, very Corolla inside. Very, very grey plastic. And then we got a Celica GT4 here, looking mischievous. Very, very nice. So a good selection of cars. And then we've got MR2s variously round the corner. So it really has been a splendid show. Oh, marinas. I must show you marinas while Mike Brewer shakes away in the background. And there's Richard Dredge of Classic Retro Modern. Hello, sir. And see, all the cool kids are hanging around the marinas and Itals, because why wouldn't you? If ever there was a car I wanted to champion on the channel, then these are very much it. So yeah, great to see various restoration going on. This is a Suntour camper. Imagine the summer holidays in that. Marvellous. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video at a future show. Farewell.